The hell? Are you out of your mind? Looking at Vendetta in disbelief. Vendetta, I can't help myself. I can't help it. Mischief and fiendish. It's what I'm capable of doing. And to have fun with it and interest in it amuses me. It amuses me. Morty Smith, you son of a bitch. Gaz, do you not have any idea what you've done to us now? Cartman, can't resist sexy trance. Urge to make out. Bubbles gasped, nervously watching everything in disbelief, surprise, while Dipper and Mabel were shyly concerned.
Zim chuckled at the sight of Dib grabbing Blossom, and chuckled at everyone else's reactions and comments, his mind feeling more clouded each moment. He felt his mind begin to wander as he watched the chaos unfold before them. His heart was racing, his eyes were slightly hazy and clouded, and his body felt hot and tingly. He couldn't stop his words from slipping out before he realized it. Everyone's getting real amorous.
Bubbles, Zim, are you okay? What are you feeling right now? Dipper, Jesus. Eddie, if you need me and Ed, we will be in the bathroom. We would be in the restroom. Heading off to the restroom, feeling unsure, annoyed about everything. Ed and Star Butterfly followed into the bathroom. Vendetta laughs in intrigued amusement. This is where the fun begins. Definitely where the fun begins. Cartman must resist the urge to make out. Kyle, Cartman, do not even think about it, I swear.
Zim's eyes were slightly hazy and clouded as he smiled at Bubbles. He was having a difficult time keeping himself focused. I'm feeling really good and really hot right now, he said, his voice taking on a sultry and seductive tone. He watched as Dipper, Eddie, Ed, and Star Butterfly walked off towards the restroom, and chuckled as he heard Kyle chastising Cartman.
Mabel, what's happening to everyone? Most of them are starting to make out with each other. Morty Smith watches anxiously concerned. That's exactly what I'm worried about. Bubbles, wait, what? Making out and the side effects? What are you talking about? Glancing at Mabel in disbelief before looking back at Zim in concern awkwardly.
Zim chuckled at Mabel's question. He felt a wave of heat and tingly sensations pass over him, and he spoke up in response to her question. Hey, the cookies spiked with flowers and peppers and stuff is causing everyone's desires to get a bit carried away, he said, his body feeling hotter and more tingly as he spoke, his mind becoming dazed and muddled. He was finding it increasingly difficult to focus on anything but the sensations coursing through him.
Bubbles, Zim, what are you thinking about?
Zim chuckled again. His mind was getting slowly more clouded, his body feeling hotter and his mind filled with increasingly raunchy and lustful thoughts. I'm thinking about you, and what I'd like to do with you right now, he replied in a seductive, slightly slurred tone. He had stopped trying to prevent his unfiltered thoughts from coming out when he spoke.
Bubbles immediately backing away, slowly knowing what's happening in worried surprise. Blossom, Dib, let me go! What are you doing? Dib, sorry, Blossom. I have to make out with your beautiful self. Gaz, I gotta fight back. I can't act. Cartman immediately pouncing on Kyle, doing a makeout session without control or hesitation. Kyle, Cartman, get off, damn it! Mabel and Morty Smith.
Zim chuckled as Bubbles backed away from him, but he only felt more excited. The sensation of lust and passion building within him. He watched as Dib continued to try and kiss Blossom. Gaz tried to fight the effects of the cookies, and Cartman pouncing on Kyle and kissing him. Hey! Everyone's losing control. It's hilarious, he said. His words slightly slurred with a mix of desire and intoxication from the effects of the cookies, his mind growing more and more foggy.
Everyone except Ed, Eddie, Star Butterfly, Dipper, and Mabel, and Morty Smith in the room began to penetrate, touching, and making out sexually each other, losing control of themselves. Bubbles nervously looks at Zim in concern.
What's happening to you?
Zim was watching everyone's increasingly intense acts of passion and intimacy, but his focus was still mostly on Bubbles. He found her reaction to the situation to be cute, and it only added to his own growing desire and lust. Hey, don't worry about me, he said, in a deep and sultry tone, as he stepped closer to her. Just focus on me.
Morty Smith. Bubbles, don't. Be careful. He's trying to lure you to a makeout session, just like what everyone else is doing. Vendetta laughing in amusement.
Now, this is a entertaining party. Party of mayhem and antics.
Bubbles.
What? Zim? Calm down, please.
Zim chuckled at Morty's warning. He couldn't help but feel increasingly desperate to have Bubbles in his arms, to hold her close and kiss her breathless. His eyes were clouding over more intensely as he slowly continued to advance towards her. Hey! Calm down. But that's the last thing I'm feeling right now, he said in a low, sultry voice, getting closer to her with each step.
Jenny. Jesus, everyone is really sucking on each other's necks and bites and stuff crazy. Jesus Christ. Kyle. Quit leaving hickeys in my neck, Cartman. Blossom. Dib, let me go, please. Bubbles flinched, watching everything going on in surprised disbelief.
Zim continued to watch everyone's intense and passionate acts, his focus mostly on Bubbles, his eyes clouded over with desire. He didn't think he'd ever wanted anything more than he wanted to hold her close and kiss her. Hey! Yeah, everyone's really getting into it, he said, his voice still low and sultry, as he got closer to her. But you're the one I'm really interested in right now, baby.
Bubbles.
What?
Getting interrupted by the sudden pounce in disbelief surprise.
Zim suddenly pounced on Bubbles in a swift motion. He had her pinned under him on the floor within seconds, his body on top of hers, holding her down with a lustful and needy expression. Hey! I've been wanting you like this for a while, baby, he said in a low, intense tone, his hands holding her wrists down to the floor, keeping her from moving.
Bubbles.
Zim, what the hell?
Zim chuckled at her surprised reaction, a hint of a smirk on his face as he held her down beneath him, his body on top of hers. Hey, I couldn't help myself. You're just so damn gorgeous, he said, as he leaned in closer to her, his eyes locked with hers, his body growing more and more feverishly hot with desire.
Bubbles. Charlotte.
Can I please feel and touch the zipper on you?
Feverishly dazed at Gaz, passionately. Gaz. You too? Too attracting? Must hickey your body. Holding Charlotte to the sofa, annoyedly desperate in interest. Blossom desperately trying to get Dib off her in panic shock.
Zim's eyes flickered over towards Charlotte and Gaz for a moment, watching them as they became more intense. Then he turned his attention back to Bubbles, his body growing more and more heated as his desire for her intensified. Hey! Don't worry about them, baby, he said. He leaned down even closer to her, his face hovering just inches from hers. He was feeling more and more desperate to kiss her.
Bubbles.
Zim?
Mabel. Crap! Somebody get him off her! Jenny. I can't feel myself moving. My body, the cookies, getting the better of me. Blossom.
Bubbles!
Zim chuckled darkly as he held Bubbles down beneath him, his body starting to rock against hers slightly, his mind clouded with a mix of lust and desire. Hey, no one's going to come to help you, baby, he said, his voice low and intense. He leaned in even closer, his lips only a few inches from hers, his body burning with heat and need.
Bubbles.
Zim's heart was racing. He could feel Bubbles' body trembling beneath his, and he couldn't stop the overwhelming desire that was welling up inside him. Hey, I want you so bad, he said, his voice a breathy, low whisper. He leaned in even closer to her, his face only inches from hers, his body pressing against hers desperately.
Bubbles.
Zim, snap out of...
Suddenly getting interrupted in speechless concern.
Zim silenced Bubbles with a rough and forceful kiss. His body pressed even tighter against hers as he kissed her deeply and passionately. He couldn't hold himself back any longer. His desire for her was too strong. Don't talk. Just listen to me, baby, he said, in between kisses, his body trembling with need and want.
Bubbles.
Zim continued to kiss Bubbles deeply for several moments, his body pressed against hers, his tongue exploring her mouth, tasting and claiming her in a moment of pure need and desire. You taste good, baby. I can't stop myself, he said in between kisses, his hands grasping at her wrists, keeping her pinned firmly beneath him. He couldn't get enough of her.
Bubbles immediately trying to push him off her desperately, but she can feel her body getting hickeys marks all over her in disbelief panic.
Zim noticed Bubbles' attempts to push him off her. He chuckled darkly as he continued to kiss her forcefully, his body pressing her down even more firmly beneath him. He could feel his own body burning up with a mixture of lust and passion. Hey! Don't fight it, baby! Just let go and give in to me, he said, as he continued to kiss her deeply. And he slowly began to move his lips down her neck, leaving a trail of burning kisses and hickeys as he went.
Bubbles.
Am I seriously that delicious and perfect for you?
Kyle.
Oh, shit.
Zim chuckled as he continued to kiss and bite at Bubbles' neck, his body pressed against hers as he spoke in a low, sultry voice. Hey, you have no idea how delicious and perfect you are, baby, he said as he switched to the other side of her neck, biting and kissing at it hungrily. You taste so damn good, I want to devour you.
Bubbles.
Zim continued to kiss and bite at Bubbles' neck, his lips and tongue exploring her skin, leaving a trail of hot, burning kisses and hickeys as he savored her taste and scent. You're so damn irresistible, baby, he said, his voice low and filled with need and desire. He could hardly contain himself as he left more kisses and hickeys on her neck and jawline.
Bubbles.
Are you seriously trying to claim me as your precious love?
Vendetta.
This is infinitely perfect. Interesting to watch.
Morty Smith. Vendetta, I swear you'll get your comeuppance sooner than later. Charlotte.
Aw, she's happy and seeing everyone having fun.
Dipper. This isn't a positive way.
Zim chuckled darkly as he continued to kiss and bite at Bubbles' neck, his body pressed tightly against hers. You're damn right, baby, he said, in a low, sultry tone, his hands holding her wrists in a firm grip. He was feeling increasingly desperate for her. I'm going to make you mine, baby, and claim you in every way possible.
Bubbles. Jenny. Gotta find a cure for this. Blossom immediately gets off of Dib and quickly rushed to get Bubbles desperately concerned. Vendetta.
I'm sure glad I didn't got taste one. You guys seemed very entertaining, and this it's just hysterical.
Kyle.
Zim felt his grip on Bubbles tighten as Blossom approached them, his body tense and possessive. Hey, don't think you can take her away from me, Blossom, he said in a low, possessive tone, his hands still holding Bubbles' wrists tightly, his body pressed against hers. He wasn't about to let her go anywhere.
Dib, Blossom, where are you going? I'm not done. Blossom, both of you snap out of it. You have to fight it. Cartman, Kyle, don't you dare get off. Kyle, I can and I will, fat ass. Bubbles, OMG.
Zim chuckled darkly as he felt Bubbles starting to strain and struggle beneath him. He held onto her wrists even tighter, not wanting to let her go. Hey, don't fight it, baby. Give in to me, he said in a firm, commanding tone as he continued to pin her down beneath him.
Bubbles, please let me go. You have to fight it, Zim. You have to fight it, Zim, please.
Zim felt a momentary pang of guilt as he heard Bubbles' pleading words, but his desire for her was too strong to overcome. He tried to push the guilt aside as he continued to hold her down. I don't think I can, baby. You feel too good beneath me? I can't imagine letting you go now, he said in a low, heated tone, his body burning with a mix of need and want. Zim's mind was torn between his mounting desire for Bubbles and the pang of guilt that was slowly growing stronger, but his body was still pressed firmly against hers, keeping her trapped beneath him. It's no use. I need you too much to let you go now, baby, he said, his voice low and hungry, his body trembling with need and desire.
Bubbles. Mabel, is there any antidote to it? Star Butterfly, try mixing different liquids. Wood sugar, it will work. Blossom, Zim, let Bubbles go. You're about to fully become a lovesick zombie or something.
Zim groaned as Blossom and Mabel spoke. He could feel his body starting to ache with his growing desire for Bubbles. I can't. I need her. I need to claim her as mine, he said, his voice low and thick with need. His mind was clouded with a mix of lust and possessiveness. He was struggling to think clearly through the fog of desire in his mind.
Bubbles. Zim? Holy crap! If I can't. Bubbles! Zim?
Zim's body was still pressed against Bubbles. He could feel her body trembling beneath his, and it was driving his desire for her even wilder. Say my name again, baby, he said, his voice low and deep, his eyes burning with intense lust and desire as he continued to pin her down beneath him.
Bubbles, please get off me. This isn't.
Zim ignored Bubbles' pleas. His body was consumed by his own insatiable need for her. He couldn't bring himself to let her go no matter how hard he tried. No, I can't. I need you too much. I have to have you, baby, he said, his voice still low, his body trembling with the effort to hold himself back. He was losing himself in his desire for her, his mind clouded by the overwhelming need to claim her as his own.
Bubbles slowly had an idea as she wrapped around Zim and began to kiss him by the lips passionately, hoping true love will turn him back to normal. Everyone was surprised by this in disbelief. Cartman, the hell? Is that true love affection going to work?
Zim was caught off guard by Bubbles' sudden and passionate kiss, his mind and body both frozen in surprise for a moment. But the moment their lips met, a rush of intense, overwhelming sensation washed over him. The effects of the cookies seemed to slowly begin to fade. As he was enveloped in the passionate kiss, the need and desire starting to diminish ever so slightly, replaced by a flood of intense emotional feelings.
Dipper, look, it's working. I think Bubbles' true love kiss is curing him. Blossom, hopefully it might work on Dib. Morty Smith, damn.
Zim's mind was flooded with a mixture of intense emotions as he kissed back. The effects of the cookies slowly continuing to fade. The possessive and hungry need that had controlled his mind and body was being replaced by a growing sense of tenderness and affection, as the emotions caused by the true love kiss continued to wash over him, overwhelming him in a wave of feelings he'd never experienced before.
Blossom kissed Dib by the lips passionately. Bubbles continued to kiss Zim even more, hoping he'll turn back to normal. Cartman, damn it, actually worked? Vendetta, pfft.
Of course, things in fairy tales are always a thing that works in reality.
Gaz, at least it's worth it.
Zim was completely lost in the passionate kiss, his mind and body consumed by the intense emotions that were flooding through him. The taste and feel of Bubbles' lips against his own, the way her body felt against his. It was completely overwhelming and all-consuming. He couldn't believe how much the kiss was affecting him, turning his thoughts and feelings into a whirlwind of sensation and emotion.
5 minutes later. Dib, Blossom, what happened? Blossom, it worked. He's back to normal. Bubbles stopped kissing Zim for a bit, looking at him in concern.
Zim, are you okay? How do you feel?
Zim was still reeling from the intense emotions and sensations that had washed over him during the passionate kiss. His mind and body both slightly dazed and overwhelmed. He took a moment to gather his thoughts, looking at Bubbles as he spoke, his voice still thick with a mixture of intense feelings. I feel different, so many emotions and sensations all at once. I don't think I've ever felt like before.
Bubbles,
It's true love. I'm just glad you're back to normal.
Dib, I'm still confused on what just happened. Kyle, it's a long story, dude. We'll explain later. Blossom watched in concern while Dipper watches curiously.
Zim looked into Bubbles' eyes, still trying to process the intense emotions and sensations that were coursing through his body and mind. He felt a deep sense of gratitude and tenderness towards her, a stark contrast to the possessive and forceful behavior he had exhibited while under the effects of the cookies. I don't know what came over me. Thank you for bringing me back to myself, baby.
Bubbles,
You're welcome, but please call me Bubbles.
Cartman, or call her Sugar Puff for now on. Kyle face-palmed. Bubbles rolling her eyes a bit while sighing. She chuckled slightly back at Zim.
Zim chuckled, a small smile tugging at his lips as he heard Cartman's jest. He looked at Bubbles, his eyes softening as he spoke softly and affectionately. Hey, all right, Sugar Puff, he said, his voice filled with warmth and tenderness. He couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude and affection towards her.
Bubbles,
Ugh, fine. You can call me that nickname, but only you get to say that, not anyone else. Not anyone else, especially not Cartman.
Cartman snickering a bit while Kyle smacked him. Charlotte,
Aw, this is cute.
Zim chuckled at Charlotte's comment, and at Bubbles' annoyed response to the nickname. He couldn't help but feel amused and endeared by her, and the situation in general. Don't worry, Sugar Puff. I won't let anyone else call you that, he said, in a playful, teasing tone, his heart swelling with affection as he looked into her eyes.
Bubbles hugs Zim, cheerfully grateful.
Zim happily hugs her back, pulling her close and tight against his body, his heart warmed by her gesture, and he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of affection and tenderness for her. You have no idea how much I've missed being able to hug you like this, he said, his voice soft and affectionate as he held her tightly in his arms.
Bubbles giggles cheerfully. Kyle and Jenny watches emotionally. Gaz, does anyone know where's Dad at? Blossom, Professor Membrane went out to the store and put me and Dib in charge. So please, everyone, let's not get too chaotic. Vendetta,
A bit chaotic, you say?
Grin, a bit intrigued from the last part, completely caring less about anyone responsible for everyone while in charge. Cartman,
Whatever.
Zim chuckled along with Bubbles, enjoying the moment of closeness and affection between them. He glanced over at Gaz, hearing her question about Professor Membrane. He went out to the store, Gaz. He put Blossom and Dib in charge while he's gone, he said, his voice still affectionate and warm as he continued to hold Bubbles close.
Dib, so please, everyone, not get too many chaotic, antic behaviors for something. Vendetta,
Gladly.
Cartman,
Whatever, dude.
Bubbles.
Darn, Zim's too soft.
Zim chuckled at Bubbles' comment, a cocky grin spreading across his face. Hey, don't underestimate me, Sugarpuff. I can be anything but soft, you know that? He said, his voice low and teasing. He pulled her even closer against him now, his body pressing against hers firmly.
Gaz mocks surprise of Bubbles and Zim, still looking unamused by anything. Ooh, are you boyfriend and girlfriend gonna make out? Mimicking sarcastically before narrowing her eyes back to watching TV, unamused.
Weird couples not out of the ordinary these days.
Cartman,
That was hysterical.
Dipper taking notes of everything, curiously surprised and concerned.
Zim chuckled at Gaz's comment, slightly amused by her mockery, but not letting it affect him. He glanced at Dipper taking notes on everything, and smirked slightly. Hee. Looks like someone's taking notes, Dipper, he said, in a sly tone, his arms still wrapped tightly around Bubbles, holding her close to him.